Well, now to an update on District Judge Guy Williams. He was, as you'll recall, acquitted recently of one count of road rage. A second charge was dropped when a jury deadlocked on that count. And tonight we've learned that Judge Williams has admitted himself into a chemical dependency treatment facility. Rudy Trevino has the latest.
I think the plan was always to seek treatment.
I think he needs it. I think he's been suffering a long time.
Reaction late Monday afternoon from Judge Guy Williams' defense team after getting word their client voluntarily checked himself into a Bandera-based clinic. In a text to me Sunday evening, Judge Williams said, quote, "I voluntarily admitted myself into an intensive inpatient treatment facility, Warrior's Heart." He went on to say the facility treats severe complex post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, high anxiety, and anger hypervigilance, and all other symptoms of PTSD.
We talk about PTSD now and trauma, but we didn't used to talk about that, so it was hard for him. But now that he is dealing with that, I think it's important that he talk to others about it, and I'm proud of him for that.
On its website, Warrior's Heart states it provides treatment for PTSD, addiction, and chemical dependency for active military, vets, and first responders. Lisa Greenberg says it was always the judge's idea to seek treatment because he knew he needed help.
We just had to find the right place for a veteran with PTSD, and we found it. And so he's been in there and he's doing really well.
Greenberg says because of the stress of the trial, this was the best time for the judge to seek treatment. Co-counsel Terry Shamsi says Williams will remain in the facility for as long as he needs to be there and says the experience could help other vets.
I think it's going to be a big thing that when he finishes the program, he can go and talk to other veterans that he himself dealt with the issue. It is an important thing to deal with it, and maybe that will result in other veterans stepping forward and getting the treatment they deserve.
Rudy Trevino, 3 News.
There's much more to come.